Before we start, I want to say that only 1% of you are subscribed. Please subscribe because when we reach 1,000 subscribers, I will post a special video for you. Eli strolled through the crowded spaceport of Gaia 5, his eyes scanning the throngs of various species milling about. The hustle of traders, travelers, and touts created a cacophony of sounds and a kaleidoscope of colors that dazzled any newcomer. But Eli was no newcomer, this chaos was his comfort zone. Dragging a small, anti-grav cargo cart behind him, he maneuvered expertly between a group of chattering Andromedan merchants and a tall, silent figure cloaked in shimmering fabric. As he turned a corner sharply, he accidentally collided with someone stepping unpredictably from a side corridor. "Watch it," he exclaimed as he steadied the cart, which teetered dangerously close to tipping over. The figure he had bumped into was a slender, silver-skinned being with large, luminescent eyes that seemed to pierce right through the dim lighting of the port. She or he, Eli couldn't tell yet, with aliens regained composure with an elegance that seemed almost choreographed. "I apologize profoundly," the alien said, voice melodious yet carrying an edge of discomfort. "I am not accustomed to such vibrant environments." "No harm done," Eli replied, his irritation softening as he took in the alien's features. "Name's Eli. You new around here?" "I am called Azira," the figure replied, extending a hand, which Eli shook gently, aware of the potential fragility. "Azira, huh? Well, Azira, let me give you a tip, always keep your eyes peeled and your sensors on high alert. Gaia 5 can be a bit overwhelming, but you'll get the hang of it. Perhaps a guide would expedite my acclimation?" Azira suggested, a glint of curiosity in those bright eyes. Eli laughed, shaking his head. "Sure, I can show you around. But fair warning, I charge a high rate for tours." "I accept your terms, Eli," Azira said, a smile playing at the corners of their mouth. As they walked, Eli pointed out various landmarks and vendor stalls, explaining the unofficial rules and etiquette of the port. Azira listened intently, absorbing every detail with an eagerness that was almost childlike. "So, what brings you to Gaia 5? Business or pleasure?" Eli asked as they stopped to watch a street performer juggling glowing orbs. "Research," Azira replied. "My people are interested in the cultures and technologies of other galactic residents. We are observers mostly." "That's cool. And here I thought you might be here to shop. The tech bazaar over there is a treasure trove for anyone looking to upgrade their gadgets," Eli said, pointing towards a cluster of stalls adorned with blinking lights and rotating displays. "I might require assistance with that as well," Azira said, looking towards the bazaar with interest. "Then let's make that our next stop," Eli decided, leading the way. As they approached the bazaar, he explained the various items for sale, from multidimensional maps to quantum computing devices. "Your knowledge is extensive," Azira noted, examining a device that could simultaneously translate thousands of languages. "I've been around," Eli chuckled. "You pick things up." They spent the next hour exploring the offerings, with Eli explaining the uses and value of each item they came across. Azira was particularly fascinated by a holographic data interface, a technology yet to be refined in their own world. As the tour continued, Eli found himself strangely comfortable with Azira's presence. It was not often he met someone or some alien so genuinely interested in learning about other cultures, including his own human quirks. As the spaceport's giant timekeeper signaled the end of the trading day, Eli and Azira found themselves at a small eatery overlooking the docking bays, watching ships come and go. "I must thank you, Eli," Azira said as they sipped on local beverages. "Your guidance has been invaluable." "Anytime, Azira. It's been fun showing you around," Eli replied, smiling genuinely. "Maybe you can tell me more about where you come from next time." "I would like that very much," Azira agreed, the light from the nearby docks reflecting in their eyes, giving them an otherworldly glow. And so, their unexpected meeting turned into the beginning of something neither of them had anticipated, a friendship forged in the flow of interstellar commerce and curiosity. The next day, Eli met Azira at a quiet cafe nestled near the edge of the bustling spaceport. The morning rush had tapered off, leaving behind a serene atmosphere ideal for their planned discussion. "Good to see you again, Azira," Eli greeted as he approached the table where Azira was already seated, examining a digital menu with a fascinated expression. "Likewise, Eli. This establishment's offerings are quite expansive," Azira replied, setting the menu down. Eli chuckled as he took a seat opposite them. "Yeah, they try to cater to as many species as possible. What's caught your eye?" "Several things, but I am unsure of the dietary compatibility," Azira confessed, tilting their head slightly. "No worries, I've got you covered. They do a great synthetic protein platter that's compatible with most alien digestive systems. You want to try that? Please, and thank you, Eli. Azira's eyes sparkled with a mixture of gratitude and curiosity. As they waited for their order, Eli leaned forward, intrigued by the concept of Azira's research. So, you mentioned your people are observers. What exactly are you hoping to learn here? We seek to understand the emotional and socio-cultural dynamics of other species. My people value emotional exchanges and believe they are key to understanding and peace, Azira explained earnestly. That's interesting. Humans have a saying, emotions are what make us alive, Eli mused. Indeed, we have observed similar sentiments across different worlds. However, my interactions with you have been uniquely insightful, Azira admitted, their voice a mix of intrigue and something deeper. Eli raised an eyebrow, a smile tugging at his lips. Oh? How so? Since our collision yesterday, I have felt a range of emotions more vividly. It is unsettling yet exhilarating. I believe it is due to the biochemical signature unique to humans, or perhaps just unique to you. Now that's a new one, Eli laughed, then grew thoughtful. But you know, human-alien biochemistry interactions aren't well documented. Your experience could be an important study. I had considered proposing a controlled study to explore this further. Would you be agreeable to participating in such an endeavor? Azira asked, the light of scientific curiosity bright in their eyes. You mean, like, lab tests? Samples and stuff? Eli asked, his interest clearly piqued. Yes, precisely. Under controlled conditions, of course, to ensure safety and accuracy. Count me in. It's not every day you get to be a part of alien research. Plus, I'm curious about what you'll find out, Eli agreed readily. Their meal arrived, and the conversation shifted to lighter topics as they ate. Azira was keen to learn more about human culture, and Eli shared stories of Earth and its diverse cultures, foods, and traditions. After the meal, they headed to a nearby research facility where Azira had temporary access to a lab. They spent the afternoon taking various non-invasive scans and samples. The atmosphere was one of mutual fascination and respect, each procedure accompanied by detailed explanations from Azira and attentive listening from Eli. This is turning out to be more fun than I thought, Eli commented during a break, sipping on a water-like beverage Azira had recommended. I am glad to hear that, Eli. Your cooperation is invaluable. The data we are collecting is already proving to be quite enlightening, Azira responded, their tone filled with genuine appreciation. As the day drew to a close, they reviewed some preliminary data, which showed intriguing results about the interaction of their biologies. We might be onto something groundbreaking here, Eli said, looking over the data with a grin. Indeed, it appears so. I am eager to analyze this further. Your participation has not only been helpful but also truly enjoyable, Azira said, meeting his eyes with a warm smile. Likewise, Azira. Let's see where this research takes us, Eli replied, his own smile matching Azira's in warmth. Their partnership, born of an accidental bump in a busy port, had quickly evolved into a promising scientific endeavor, deepening the bond between two very different beings united by curiosity and a burgeoning friendship. The following week, Eli and Azira met in the same laboratory to continue their unique research. The lab was quiet in the early morning, the only sounds the humming of machinery and their own footsteps echoing softly against the sterile walls. Morning, Azira. Ready for another round of fun with science? Eli greeted, entering the lab with a jovial wave. Good morning, Eli. Yes, I am prepared. I have made some adjustments to our equipment based on last week's findings, Azira replied, gesturing towards a new setup that looked more sophisticated than the previous one. Eli whistled appreciatively. Looks impressive. What's the plan for today? We will monitor your physiological responses to a series of emotional stimuli. I have tailored the stimuli to evoke a range of human emotions: happiness, sadness, surprise, and so forth, Azira explained, handing Eli a sleek device that looked like a high-tech bracelet. Sounds like a ride. Strap in and feel things, huh? Eli quipped as he fastened the device around his wrist. Quite succinctly put, Azira chuckled. Please, take a seat here. They motioned to a comfortable-looking chair equipped with various sensors. Eli settled into the chair, watching as Azira calibrated the equipment. You know, this is the most attention I've gotten in years. Feels like I'm in some sci-fi movie. The comparison is not unwarranted, Azira remarked, their eyes focused on the readouts. Ready to begin? Hit me with your best shot, Eli said with a grin. Azira initiated the sequence, and images began to flicker on a screen in front of Eli, accompanied by sounds and even controlled scents. Each stimulus was designed to provoke a specific emotional response, and Eli found himself reacting more genuinely than he expected: laughter at a humorous scene, a frown at a sad story, raised eyebrows and surprise. "Wow, that was something," Eli commented after the sequence ended. "Felt like going through a whole drama series in minutes." "Your responses were quite informative," Azira observed, studying the data. "It appears your emotional responses enhanced the biochemical interactions we noticed previously. This could explain why our first meeting felt so impactful." "Science making sense of the weirdness, huh?" Eli mused, stepping out of the chair. "Indeed. Next, I would like to reverse the roles. I will undergo the same test with stimuli designed for my species, and you will observe," Azira proposed, their tone suggesting excitement. "Turnabout's fair play. Let's see how you handle your own medicine," Eli replied, eager to learn more about Azira's reactions. The switch was made, and this time, Eli watched as Azira reacted to the stimuli. Their expressions were subtler than Eli's, but the data told a rich story of fluctuating emotions and biochemical responses. "That was enlightening," Azira said once the test concluded. "Observing each other's emotional landscapes can significantly deepen our understanding, not just scientifically but personally." "For sure. It's one thing to talk about feelings, another to literally see them in action," Eli agreed, helping Azira disengage from the testing equipment. As they reviewed the data together, a sense of camaraderie built up between them, grounded in shared experience and mutual curiosity. "I must admit, this is the most unique partnership I've ever had," Eli said, glancing at Azira with a smile. "And likely the most productive for me as well," Azira replied, returning the smile. "Our collaboration has bridged not just personal but interspecies understanding. Guess we're making history here, in a way. Should we celebrate?" Eli suggested. "A celebration is indeed appropriate. However, I propose something low-key. Perhaps dinner at that cafe we like?" Azira suggested. "Dinner it is. And maybe this time we can skip the synthetic proteins and try something a bit more adventurous," Eli joked. "That would be agreeable. An adventurous meal for adventurous researchers," Azira concluded, their eyes twinkling with anticipation. With their plans set, they left the lab together, talking and laughing as they headed towards their favorite cafe, both aware that they were on the brink of discoveries that could change more than just their own worlds. The evening was warm and inviting as Eli and Azira strolled to the cafe where they first discussed the idea of working together. The streets of Gaia 5 were less crowded at this hour, allowing for a more relaxed conversation. "You know, I've been thinking a lot about our experiments," Eli started, his hands in his pockets as they walked. "It's fascinating how emotions play such a strong role in interspecies interaction." "It is indeed," Azira agreed, their tone contemplative. "In my culture, emotions are seen as the gateway to deeper understanding. Your human expressions are particularly nuanced." Eli chuckled. "Yeah, we humans have a flair for the dramatic sometimes." As they arrived at the cafe, they chose a secluded table outside, under the soft glow of ambient light orbs that floated gently around the area, creating a serene atmosphere. "I've always liked this place," Eli said as they sat down. "It's peaceful, kind of like a little oasis from the chaos of the port. It has a harmonious blend of elements," Azira observed, looking around. "It is conducive to thoughtful conversation." They ordered their meal, this time opting for dishes that were a mix of human and Azira's native cuisine, a symbolic choice reflecting their own blending of worlds. As they waited for their food, Azira brought up the topic that had been on both their minds. "Eli, our sessions have made me think about the emotional connections not just between individuals but also between different species. It's a rare phenomenon." "True. It's got me thinking about the connections we form, how sometimes you just click with someone, or in our case, someone very different." Eli leaned back, watching the light play off Azira's features. Azira nodded, their eyes reflecting the soft lights. "It is quite rare to find such a connection." "Eli, may I be candid with you?" "Always," Eli responded, giving Azira an encouraging nod. "I find myself drawn to you in a way that is unfamiliar to me. Our experiments, the time we've spent together, it's stirred something within me that I have not experienced before." Eli felt his heart skip a beat. He'd felt it too, this pull towards Azira, but hearing them articulate it made it all the more real. "Azira, I feel the same way. There's something about you that just feels right." The admission hung between them for a moment, charged with an electric tension. Then, almost as if drawn by a magnetic force, they both leaned forward. "May I?" Eli asked, his voice barely above a whisper as he reached out his hand, palm up. Azira placed their hand in his, their touch light. "Yes." Eli gently pulled Azira closer, and their faces drew near. When their lips finally met, the sensation was unlike anything Eli had ever felt, an electric charge filled with warmth and a deep, resonating connection. It was gentle yet profound, filled with the emotions they had been discussing and more. They pulled back slightly, eyes meeting in a silent acknowledgement of the step they had just taken. "That was," Eli started, struggling for words. "Unexpectedly harmonious," Azira finished for him, a slight smile curving their lips. Their meal arrived then, but the food was no longer the centerpiece of their evening. They ate, but their conversation deepened, now punctuated with touches and shared smiles. As the evening wound down, they left the cafe hand in hand, their steps slow, savoring the moment. "Eli, what are we doing?" Azira asked quietly as they paused by a viewing deck that overlooked the starlit docking bays. "I don't know exactly," Eli admitted, turning to face Azira fully. "But whatever it is, I don't want it to stop." "Nor do I," Azira said, their hands squeezing his slightly. "Let us explore this together." "Together," Eli echoed, and they stood there for a while, just watching the ships come and go, the universe sprawling vast and mysterious before them, their hands entwined, a silent vow to navigate whatever came next, together. A few days after their first kiss, Eli and Azira decided to spend a day away from the lab, opting for a more relaxed setting to continue exploring their newfound connection. Eli suggested a visit to the botanical gardens of Gaia 5, a place renowned for its collection of flora from across the galaxy. As they entered the lush, sprawling gardens, Azira was visibly fascinated, their eyes wide as they took in the vibrant colors and exotic scents. "This place is incredible, Eli," Azira remarked, taking a deep breath of the fragrant air. "Yeah, it's a favorite spot for locals and visitors alike. It's peaceful, and you can see species of plants from hundreds of planets, all in one place," Eli explained, leading the way down a winding path lined with bioluminescent shrubs. As they walked, they discussed various aspects of their cultures. Eli described traditional human gardening and landscaping, contrasting it with the more utilitarian agricultural practices of his home planet. "What about your people, Azira? How do you interact with nature?" Eli asked, genuinely curious. "Our relationship with nature is deeply spiritual. We believe plants are not just biological entities but also possess spirits that can communicate through emotions," Azira explained, gently touching the leaves of a nearby fern, which seemed to glow brighter at their touch. "That's fascinating," Eli said, watching the interaction. "Seems like there's a lot we humans could learn from your people." "There is much we could learn from each other, Eli," Azira replied, smiling warmly at him. They continued their walk, occasionally stopping to admire a particularly striking plant or to read the informational plaques. At one exhibit, featuring a massive, canopy-like tree from a distant world, they paused for a longer look. "This tree can live for over 1,000 years and is considered a living library by its native species," Eli read from the plaque. "A living library?" Azira echoed, intrigued. "Yeah, apparently, it stores genetic information and historical data within its rings. Scientists can actually read its history," Eli elaborated, his own interest piqued by the concept. "Remarkable," Azira mused. "It's somewhat akin to our historical archives, though ours are not part of a living organism." Their conversation shifted from the botanical to the personal as they found a quiet bench near a water feature, the sound of trickling water providing a serene backdrop. "Eli, our exploration into each other's worlds has been deeply enriching," Azira began, turning to face him. "I find myself considering aspects of my own culture through a new lens." "I feel the same," Eli admitted. "Talking with you, learning about your perspectives, it's changed the way I look at a lot of things." As they talked, they delved into more personal topics: family, hopes, fears. Eli shared stories of his early years on Earth, of gardens his mother kept and how those moments shaped his appreciation for places like this garden. Azira listened intently, then shared their own experiences growing up on their home planet, describing landscapes that sounded both alien and wondrous to Eli's ears. As the afternoon waned, they found themselves reluctant to leave the tranquility of the gardens. On impulse, Eli reached for Azira's hand, entwining their fingers together. "This feels right, doesn't it?" he asked softly. "It does," Azira affirmed, squeezing his hand gently. "Despite our differences, or perhaps because of them, this connection feels like a discovery of its own." They left the gardens as the sun began to set, casting a golden light that seemed to highlight the new depth of their relationship. As they walked back towards the spaceport, their conversation continued, each topic weaving them closer together, their steps in sync, a silent testament to the harmony they had found in each other's company. Evening descended on Gaia 5 as Eli and Azira made their way back to Eli's apartment after their enriching day at the botanical gardens. The connection between them had grown palpably deeper, charged with an anticipation neither could ignore. Upon arriving, Eli paused at the door, his keys dangling from his fingers. "Would you like to come in for a while?" he asked, his voice a mix of hope and nervousness. Azira nodded, their luminous eyes reflecting the streetlights. "I would like that very much, Eli." Inside, Eli led Azira to the living room, where soft music played from a small speaker system. The dim lighting created a cozy ambience. "Make yourself at home," Eli said, taking Azira's cloak and hanging it by the door. "Your home is very welcoming," Azira observed, looking around at the modest decor filled with mementos from Eli's travels across the galaxy. "I'm glad you think so," Eli smiled, moving to the kitchen. "Can I get you something to drink?" "Just water, thank you," Azira replied, settling onto the sofa. Eli returned with 2 glasses of water, handing one to Azira before sitting down beside them. The proximity, charged with the day's shared experiences, felt different now, more intimate, more deliberate. They sipped their water in comfortable silence for a moment before Eli turned to Azira, his expression earnest. "Azira, today was incredible. I've never felt so connected, not just to someone, but to everything around me." Azira set down their glass, their hand lightly touching Eli's arm. "I share your feelings, Eli. There is a harmony between us that I have not felt before. It is both exhilarating and, I must admit, a bit daunting." "Daunting?" Eli echoed, turning to face them more fully. "Yes, because it challenges much of what I know about relationships and connections. My people do not often experience such rapid, intense bonding," Azira explained, their voice soft but clear. Eli reached out, gently cupping Azira's face in his hands. "Maybe we're not supposed to understand it all at once. Maybe it's about exploring it together, however it unfolds." Azira leaned into his touch, their eyes closing briefly at the contact. "I would like that, Eli." Encouraged, Eli leaned in slowly, his movements guided by the magnetic pull he felt towards Azira. Their lips met in a soft, tentative kiss that soon deepened as they both responded to the rush of emotions that flooded through them. The kiss ignited a tender exploration of touch and closeness. Eli's hands roamed to Azira's shoulders, down the contours of their back, as Azira's hands found Eli's hair, pulling him closer. "Eli," Azira whispered against his lips, a note of wonder and desire mingling in their voice. "Yeah?" Eli responded, his own voice rough with emotion. "This is new and wonderful," Azira breathed out, their breath warm on Eli's skin. "It is," Eli agreed, feeling a surge of warmth at the affirmation. He guided Azira gently down onto the sofa, their bodies aligning as they continued to kiss, slowly, deeply, exploring the new physicality of their bond. As they moved together, the rest of the world seemed to fall away, leaving only the sound of their synchronized breaths and the soft music that filled the room. The physical connection deepened their emotional one, each touch, each kiss weaving a stronger bond between them. Later, as they lay side by side, a gentle quietude enveloped them. Eli stroked Azira's hair, marveling at the smooth texture. "Azira, what are we doing?" Eli asked softly, his heart still racing from their intimate encounter. "We are discovering," Azira replied simply, turning to face him with a serene smile. "Discovering each other, and perhaps, discovering new possibilities." Eli nodded, his smile matching Azira's. "I'm okay with that. More than okay." They stayed like that for a while, wrapped in each other's arms, the night deepening around them as they basked in the afterglow of their shared passion and the endless potential of what lay ahead. The morning light filtered softly through the curtains of Eli's apartment, casting a gentle glow across the room where Eli and Azira had spent the night. They both stirred, awakening to a new reality shaped by the previous night's revelations and the deepening of their connection. Eli was the first to sit up, his mind racing with thoughts as he glanced over at Azira, who was still lying beside him, their eyes slowly opening. "Good morning," Eli said, his voice low, tinged with a mixture of joy and uncertainty. "Good morning, Eli," Azira replied, their voice calm, a soft smile gracing their lips. They shared a look, a silent communication that spoke of mutual affection and the complexities of what they were navigating together. After a moment, Eli spoke again, breaking the comfortable silence. "Last night was incredible," he started, searching Azira's eyes for any signs of regret or doubt. "It was," Azira agreed, sitting up to face him. It was a sharing of ourselves on a level I have not previously experienced. But, they paused, choosing their words carefully. It also brings forth many considerations. Eli nodded, taking Azira's hand in his. I know. There are so many unknowns, especially with how different our cultures view relationships. What are you thinking? Azira squeezed his hand gently. I am thinking of how we navigate our personal feelings within the broader context of our respective societies. Our connection, it could be seen as unconventional, at best. Yeah, I've been thinking about that too, Eli admitted. But whatever challenges we face, I want to face them with you. We can figure this out together, right? I would like that very much, Azira said, their eyes warm. But we should also consider the potential impacts on our ongoing research. We do not want to jeopardize our professional integrity or the significance of our findings. You're right, Eli said, his brow furrowed as he considered the implications. Maybe we need to set some guidelines, keep our personal and professional lives as separate as we can while we're at work. That sounds prudent, Azira agreed. It will not be easy, but it is necessary. I value what we have professionally just as much as what we are discovering personally. Eli smiled, relieved by Azira's response. So, we keep working, keep exploring, and keep talking. We stay open and honest about how this affects us and the work. Exactly, Azira nodded. Openness and honesty will be our guiding principles. With a plan beginning to form, they spent the morning discussing their next steps, both in their personal relationship and their professional collaboration. By the time they were ready to leave the apartment, they felt a renewed sense of purpose. As they walked together to the lab, the city around them bustling with the morning rush, Eli felt a surge of optimism. You know, despite all the complications, I'm really glad we're in this together, he said, giving Azira's hand a squeeze. And I as well, Azira responded, squeezing back. No matter what the future holds, I'm grateful for this journey with you. They entered the lab with a sense of determination, ready to face whatever challenges and discoveries lay ahead. As they began setting up for another day's work, their shared glances were filled with a private understanding, a bond that had deepened and would continue to grow, no matter the complexities they would navigate. The early morning light streamed through the windows of the laboratory where Eli and Azira had spent countless hours. Today, however, there was a subtle shift in the air, a sense of culmination and new beginnings as they prepared to present their groundbreaking research findings to a panel of interspecies scientific authorities. Eli adjusted the display settings on the holographic projector, ensuring that every detail of their data visualization was perfect. Think they'll understand the implications of what we've found? He asked, glancing over at Azira, who was reviewing their notes. Azira looked up, their expression thoughtful. I believe they will. The data is compelling, and the personal insights we've added provide a unique perspective that is hard to dismiss. You're right, Eli nodded, feeling a surge of pride for their work and for the bridge they had built not just between two people but potentially between two species. As the time approached for their presentation, other scientists and dignitaries began to fill the room, a buzz of anticipation in the air. Eli and Azira took their place at the front, standing together, a united front. Ladies, gentlemen, and esteemed colleagues, Azira began, their voice steady and clear. Today, we share with you a discovery that transcends the mere scientific. What began as a study of interspecies biochemical interactions has evolved into an exploration of emotional and psychological connections across species boundaries. Eli took over, clicking to a slide showing intricate data patterns. Our findings indicate that emotional responses can significantly enhance biochemical links between different species, leading to deeper understanding and empathy. Here you see the effects documented during our tests. The audience was captivated, their attention fixed on the screen showing fluctuating data lines and images of Eli and Azira during their experiments. Whispered discussions broke out occasionally, a sign of the impact their presentation was making. Azira continued, detailing the methodology and their personal journey through the research process. Our own experiences have informed these findings. The connection we've developed has provided us with direct insights into the potential for interspecies relationships. There were nods around the room, the implications of their work dawning on the assembled crowd. After the presentation concluded, the floor opened for questions. A distinguished-looking scientist from another world raised a hand. Do you believe these findings could pave the way for more integrated interspecies communities? Absolutely, Eli responded confidently. The understanding and empathy we can achieve through these connections could be the key to more harmonious relations between all species. Another question came, this time about the potential applications of their research in diplomatic relations. Azira answered eloquently, discussing how emotional resonance could be deliberately fostered to bridge cultural and political divides. As the session ended, the applause was enthusiastic and prolonged. Eli and Azira stepped down from the podium, their eyes meeting in a silent celebration of their success. "Looks like we've made our mark," Eli said quietly to Azira as they moved away from the crowd. "We have, thanks to our combined efforts and the bond we've shared," Azira replied, their tone warm. "This is just the beginning, Eli. There's so much more we can do." "I'm looking forward to it," Eli smiled, his heart full. "Together, we'll keep exploring, keep learning." They left the conference room side by side, stepping into the early morning light that seemed to herald a new era. Their work had not only unveiled a new scientific frontier but had also laid the foundation for a future where understanding and cooperation could thrive across the stars. As they walked towards their next engagement, their hands found each other's, a small, personal gesture that symbolized their commitment to their shared future, both professional and personal. The universe might be vast and filled with unknowns, but together, they were ready to face whatever challenges and discoveries lay ahead.